Hello, and welcome to another week of This Week in Sport Rivalry. I'm Nick Pfeiffer.
And I'm James Turner.
And today we got one of my favorites. We got Minnesota versus Wisconsin. Me being a big Badger fan, I'm excited about talking about this one. Let's at least start off with the history. What can you tell me about the history between these two?
Well, these teams have been playing 127 times since 1943.
Much of the games I've been to, by the way.
1890. They played consistently since 1943. They played since 1890, where Minnesota won 63-0, which is not an indication of how the rivalry's gone for the last few years. Because Wisconsin leads the series overall 60, 59, and 8, which is a very close rivalry at 50.
You wouldn't know, though, because Wisconsin has a 14-game win streak against Minnesota. You wouldn't even know this if you were looking at it from a shorter term.
If you just started watching, because since 2004, Wisconsin has not lost at all, which is an insane amount of dominance in a rivalry. But besides that, they've played for the Slab of Bacon trophy early in the 1930s to 1943, but the old coach of Minnesota, whenever they won it, did not want them to bring the Slab of Bacon because it would take away from the World War II and everything it stood for. So they lost that Slab of Bacon, and now they use the Paul Bunyan's axe as the trophy.
Which I will say, as a tradition, like after Wisconsin constantly winning it, they will pretend to chop down as like symbolic of them dominating. It's great. Yeah. It's a fun little like rivalry between the two. Even though Minnesota would love to win it back, I will say the chopping down motion is a big part of it. It's great. They love it. It
gets all the crowd excited and everything. And all Wisconsin obviously gets excited whenever they destroy Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Although I will say, after 14 games where they've won, I've got to imagine, myself included, Badger fans are kind of like just expecting a win at this point. And if Minnesota is going to upset Wisconsin, this might be the year.
Yeah.
Which brings us into what can we expect from this game. With Wisconsin, we're having a bit of a struggling year for the Badgers. We had Alex Hornibrook, getting a little bit of a concussion, getting hurt. He hasn't started the last two games. We've had Cohn start instead. There's been obviously some upset losses to like BYU. That one was a shocker to me. I did not expect that. But you've got Taylor running the game. He has just been a beast. Like, I imagine him to be like Melvin Gordon in the future, where he'll be one of the best running backs in the NFL. Wisconsin also is hugely a part of the playoff consideration every year because of their defense. Their defense is just loaded with huge linemen and fast linebackers. That is where their heart and soul is that defense. And each year it gets a little better. There have been some injuries, though, over the last two seasons. TJ Edwards, he's finally healthy throughout the season. He'll probably go into the draft this coming season as well. It's not been the best season, but it's still an exciting team to watch. What can we expect from Minnesota, though?
Well, Minnesota's 5-6. They have to win this game to be bowl eligible. Just like last year, whenever they lost to Wisconsin to become bowl eligible, and they did not become bowl eligible because of the loss. But PJ Fleck is trying in his second season from Western Michigan, where he coached Corey Davis, the famous Western Michigan team that was very good, one of the best MAC teams in the last few years, and obviously got the promotion to Minnesota. And he's made this Minnesota team worth something. They're, of course, only been one game away from a bowl game last year, and Minnesota hasn't been great in a few years. So if he wins this one, which would be huge, he can actually have his first bowl-eligible season and then move on from there and maybe get some more recruits and prove how great a coach he can be in a big conference.
However, having gone two seasons where he is basically on the bubble, if he doesn't win this game, do you think he's on the hot seat already, or do you think they're still going to give him a couple more seasons?
I think Minnesota is not a program like Alabama, and they kick him out immediately, or Florida, or any high program like that. But I think the seat definitely does get a little bit heated if he does not win this game, because you want to beat your rival, and you have not won in 14 games straight. They're tired of losing.
Oh yeah.
So this is a huge game for him. It can make or break his career right now. Like, if he wins this, he could sail on right there. There's probably a lot of recruits going to be at this game. Plenty of people. He can win over some recruits just by beating Wisconsin.
Oh yeah. I imagine a lot of people who are thinking about going to the University of Minnesota and using this game as a means to make that decision winning against Wisconsin would definitely be a boon for him. However, as a Badger fan, I'm hoping it doesn't happen. Some key notes from Wisconsin and Minnesota. These are two teams that they're well-rounded schools. Like, they're good in basketball, they're good in football. They're generally good in hockey. Like, that goes without saying. Even like the Dream Team or the Miracle on Ice team, I should say. A lot of them were from Minnesota or Wisconsin, even. In fact, one of the star players from that team is the head coach of the women's hockey team for both the Olympic team as well as Wisconsin women's hockey team.
It's interesting fact.
Yeah, like, just there's a lot of, like, these schools bring back a lot of
history.
They bring back in people who were successful at their programs, who went on to be successful elsewhere, and they bring them back to kind of create this culture. And so, despite Minnesota's woes as a football team, I don't see this program just falling off and ceasing to exist. Like,
Exactly.
People will continue to come back and support it. So, with all that said, who do you got winning this?
I think, just like I chose with the Virginia Tech ending their 14-game winning streak, I think that Minnesota ends Wisconsin's 14-game winning streak. Very close, just because he's here.
Yeah, just because I'm here. I will never say Minnesota's going to win. And while I said earlier, if there's ever a time where Minnesota does pull the upset, now would be the time. I don't think it's going to happen. I bet that Paul Bunyan axe stays with Wisconsin, and we chop down another goalpost. With that said, he's got Minnesota winning. I've got Wisconsin winning. It's going to be a great matchup regardless. So tune in, enjoy the game, and that's it from us. Have a good one.